Here at AuthenTech Edge Consulting, we acknowledge that our work takes place on unceded lands of the traditional Aboriginal custodians, the Yugambeh language peoples within the Gold Coast of Australia. We also invite you to reflect on the land you live and work on and encourage you to research and learn about its traditional custodians.
Welcome to Authentic Life and Business, the podcast where we delve into the journey of staying true to yourself while building a thriving business. I'm your co-host, Anna.
And I'm Taga. Each week, join us as we uncover powerful insights, share transformative strategies, and tell inspiring stories to help you create a business that not only aligns with your values, but also amplifies your impact.
Welcome to episode number 1, Authentic Life and Business, the podcast. My name is Anna and I'm joined by my co-host, Taga. Whether you're listening to us through the podcast or you're joining us on YouTube, we are really excited to have you join us. We are keeping it super casual today and just introducing ourselves and sharing what you can expect from our podcast. So I'll let Taga get us started. If you could just share a bit about yourself and your experience, personal work, whatever comes to mind.
Far out. I think whatever comes to mind, we might not have enough time for. I'm Taga, and I think what I'll do is I'll just talk a little bit about my professional background first, but it interweaves with my lived experience because a lot of my professional choices have been driven by what we've gone through in our personal lives. So in the 90s, after my husband and I migrated to Australia, I'd been working in the banking industry and actually became quite a high achiever in the banking industry. And of course, like a lot of high achievers, when you're working in, different industries, the next step for us is often, well, I might as well take these skills into my own business. So I went into a mortgage brokering business and did really well. In the first 5-6 months, I was hitting 5-month figures. Like it was really quick. But I was working really, really long hours and was 39 at the time. And sort of shortly after that, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And the reason why I explain this is because after the breast cancer and going through the chemo and going through radiation treatment and then hormone replacement therapy, of course, I was I was a solopreneur, so the income stopped. And so like a lot of people who have gone through a health or life scare of some sort that throws everything off the rails, we slowly, very slowly, we try to fight right through, we started to lose everything financially. And so there was a really heavy shame that was developing around that. And I want to explain this because that lived experience pretty much informed me moving forward because I went back into the banking industry because that's where my skills were. And I started to see the banking industry from a different lens now. I started to realize that it wasn't really connected with the emotional journeys of our clients. And so I wanted to explore something more around the emotional side. At the time, I didn't know it was traumas, but traumas around money and things like that. And so I went into financial counselling. And that's where I developed my skills in the therapeutic side. Not so much therapeutic, but financial counselling as such. And if you're watching this, if you've been working in a purpose-driven field, one thing that you start to uncover is just that, well, this is really great and this is really fulfilling, but there's still limitations, right? Because what I started to experience is the limitations around government funding for the program, limitations around banking industry and things like that. We're still within what they deemed as appropriate support. And I saw that as a real disconnect from what I wanted to do. And so that's when I started to move into my own practice. And I thought, you know what, bugger it. I'm going to try and bring my own version of financial counselling. And I couldn't call myself financial counsellor because in Australia, that's a protective phrase. And you might start to understand this as well. And so I went into financial coaching, and that's been my journey. But in order to do that, I had to learn and develop a skill called digital marketing. And that's sort of what brings me to where we are today, is the two of those things coming together.
Just a fun fact. So Taga is actually mum for me. That's my mum. And business partner. So Taga and I, mum, have our own consulting business now, AuthenTech Edge Consulting. So yeah, wow, what a journey it's been for you. And I've always said to mum that she's sort of the pioneer of you know, career-wise and business-wise as well. So a lot of my story is very similar to Tanya's in that I've sort of followed her in her footsteps. So just a little bit about me. I'm a mum of with two girls who are 14 and 9 years old. They keep me very busy in between doing, the netball games. My oldest daughter, she's working now as well, part-time. But if I was to describe myself, I would say I'm a bit of a homebody. I like lifting weights. So if I'm not working, I'm lifting weights or, at the girls' netball games and whatnot. But before we started our consulting business, I was actually studying at TAFE, doing a diploma of nursing. This is something that I've wanted to do for years, being able to help people. And my grandmother was a nurse for over 40 years until she retired. So, there's always been that interest in nursing for me. But that's been put on hold for now since we've started our consulting business and it's growing, and this is where my focus needs to be. So it's definitely something that I'll return to. I think it's a very beneficial skill set to have as a mum, having a family, and just being able to serve the community whenever it's needed. So before studying, I worked in digital marketing. I was a social media manager. But before this lifetime, I've worked in the finance industry, in community services, in the mental health space, as a call center operator, and then moving into a team leader role. So, a bit of a mixed bag of experience and different industries, but they all serve perfectly in this consulting space, and being able to, really help practitioners who are looking to transition, from employee to having their own private practice, or, practitioners who already have a private practice, but may not be able to be seeing the results, that they're looking for. So that's a bit about me. And just this podcast has been something that Taga and I have wanted to do for many years within our businesses. So it's exciting to be here. You can probably pick up that I'm a little bit nervous because it's been a while since, I've created content on YouTube. But the podcast land is completely new. So I really hope the audio is okay. Please be kind and with us. Let us know in the comments below if the audio is just terrible, and we'll make sure to work on that in future episodes. But in terms of our podcast, we really want this to be a space of sharing our experience, making that transition into, operating a business. A lot of our consulting revolves around AI and automation. And, Tony, you can speak on this in terms of AI, especially in the mental health space. There is a lot of resistance there's a lot of resistance there from people, and how to be able to integrate that authentically, making sure that you're, keeping that humanness as much as possible. So that's sort of what this podcast is about, sharing our experience, sharing tips on how to be able to integrate automation, why you should be doing that, and what would be the repercussions of not, jumping on technology. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Anna?
Oh, look, I think, what excites me is both of us have such a range of, because we both are the type of people that are not afraid to try things. And so I think the real power that you'll start to see in this space is that we're not afraid to dip our toes in and have a go and pivot if we need to. Look, if it's anything that I've learnt, I will pay attention to those that are in the trenches. It's too easy, and we hear it all the time, right? There are so many people on the sidelines going, oh, well, you can't do this and you can't do that and you shouldn't be doing this and you shouldn't be doing. I get it. And there's a lot of fear that drives that narrative. So we've gone through cycles, right? We had technology come through. We had the internet come through. Before that, the industrialism, So this is no different. And if it's one thing that I can say, you will be adapting to AI in some way, AI and automation, right? But you get to choose. Do you jump on the learning curve now, or do you wait until 2 or 3 years down the track when that curve is now starting to flatten out, right? That's sort of my thoughts. And the invitation is to feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear, dip your toes, ask the questions, play, maybe fail a little bit, get up, pivot, and be okay with that.
Absolutely. And just touching on that as well, I was listening to this other Australian business podcast this morning, and they were talking about automation and introducing AI into your business. And, when it comes to from an accountant's perspective, and what they were saying was, if you're looking at your, profit and loss statement, here in Australia for us, if you don't look at integrating those sort of softwares into your business, it will reflect on your profit and loss statements, whether it's now or later on down the track. It's your choice, when you decide to look into integrating it. So, there's so many resources available out there, through podcasts, YouTube, social media. There really is no reason why people shouldn't be looking into this for their business. So that's it from me. Is there anything else that you wanted to share for our first episode?
I'm excited, and I really have to step back from the urge to just go right into it now. So yeah, look, I think just to pop in here and just kick it off now, give you a little bit of background and context, right, as to where we're coming from, an invitation for you to drop any questions, comments, feedback. We're going to be tripping over a lot.
Absolutely. But thank you so much for joining us today, whether you're listening in on our podcast or you're joining us on YouTube. Please go ahead and subscribe, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to know where you're checking in from as well. If we're not already connected, we are on all the major socials. So you can find us at AuthenTech, TECH, Edge Consulting. So that's on all the major socials. But we will be doing a podcast once a week. Once a week, we will release a new podcast. So see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you liked this episode, please hit subscribe and let us know in the comments below if there's a topic you'd like us to discuss in the upcoming episode. If we're not already connected on the major socials, you can find us at AuthenTech Edge Consulting. We'll see you in the next episode.